Yeah. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. See this? This is my boomstick. It's a 12-gauge double-barreled Remington. S-Mart's top of the line. You can find this in the sporting goods department. That's right, this sweet baby was made in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Retails for about $109.95. It's got a walnut stock, cobalt blue steel, and a hair trigger. That's right, shop smart. Shop S-Mart. You got that?
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to The Rhythm Section, a Memphis music podcast. From legendary artists to emerging talents, we celebrate the soul of Memphis music. Tune in for engaging interviews, behind-the-scenes insights, a rich tapestry of musical heritage, and Derrick and Jeff. This podcast is produced by SRP Studios, podcasting srpstudiosllc.com.
Catch new episodes every Wednesday morning on Apple and Spotify, and don't miss our video releases at 6 p.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook. For more information, visit therhythmsectionpod.com.
If you enjoy the show and want to support us, you can easily donate to our tip bucket through Venmo and CashApp. Find the links in our episode and social media descriptions. For our video audience, scan the QR codes on your screen or simply search the Rhythm Section Pod on either app. If you find it in your heart to donate to the cause and help fuel this podcast, your support will be greatly appreciated and will help shine a brighter spotlight on the Memphis and North Mississippi music community. So as always, thanks for tuning in and supporting the Rhythm Section Podcast. And join us for our new TRS Sunday Replay series. Each Sunday, we return your favorite interviews in the order they were originally published, allowing you to relive the best moments and stories from past episodes.
You can catch upcoming replays with Steve Owens on June 30th, Derrick Joseph on July the 7th, and Brandon Marlier on July 14th.
Good job.
All on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Whether you missed an episode or want to experience it again, and we know how you love to experience it again, our TRS Sunday Replay series has you covered.
And prepare for a unique experience because every replay episode will be without the Derrick and Jeff show intro at the beginning. We'll bypass that amazing sideshow and teleport you directly into the heart of the interview.
Yeah, don't miss the chance to revisit the highlights and hear from our amazing past guests. Again, it's on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify every Sunday.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Derrick.
Yeah, and I'm Jeff.
And well, you ruined it, man. I had a thing for you.
Oh, do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
so let's
two. There we go.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. My name is Derrick, and joining me, as always, the Shirley to my Laverne, Mr. Jeff Ward.
Right.
There you go. I had to do that. Sorry.
I wanted to be Laverne.
Well, you see, Robin to my Batman, Shirley to my Laverne.
Yep.
You get it?
I get it.
Oh, there's so many more coming.
Yeah.
Just want you to know this.
Your Fonzie to your, I don't know.
I got plenty. I don't want to burn them yet.
I understand.
All right. Today, we are featuring Tommy Cathey.
Yes.
You all know him from Almost Famous. Been with them for 15 years. And then way back, Target with Jimi Jamison. Of course, we talk about all that stuff. And we'll be detailing more of his interview here in a few minutes.
Yep.
After that, next week, we have Jeff Carin. I did it again.
Carin.
I did it again like last episode. Carin. You know what? Next time, I'm going to spell it like that.
That's
Carin.
That's how you got to do it.
Jeff Carin.
Yeah.
From Roxy Blue on July 3rd. And then Pipeline, we have Chris Craig and Kenley Wolf on July 10th. They were just here. We just finished our interview with them. We're talking about their new project, Fraser Boulevard. We cannot wait to publish this one. It's very cool. And that's it. So, all right. Busy weekend. I want to do some quick shout-outs, and then maybe we can indulge a little bit on the Pete celebration coming up. We're going to talk more about this, like I said, every week. But shout-outs to the Deb Jam Band Tuesday. They let me come up and jam with them again. I love them. They got to take a week off, and then they're right back at it. But thanks to you guys and Davey Smith for giving up your bass for me. I always have a good time. Formerly known as, went to check them out Friday night at Neil's. Again, thank you for the show, but thank you to Sean for letting me sit in. Awesome. He brings me up. We have such a good time. And what's funny is then Sean becomes front man, and it's not awkward. Right. He has fun with it. He's got happy feet. He's up there dancing. Oh. The first song I usually do with them is Billie Jean. Yeah. So he puts on it, and I'm not mocking. It's fun. No. He has a good time.
And Sean is a front man. I mean, he's a bass player, but he is a front man. Yeah. So he's fine when he hands the bass over to you and does his thing.
Entertaining, engages with the crowd. As we record this last night, I went to see Area 51 at Lafayette's got me a new shirt, so shout out to them. Great show as always. And then shout out to Gen X. I went and checked you guys out last night for you were there for a little while up at Sidecar Memphis, your first show there. Yeah. It sounded great. Do you want to quickly just talk about what that experience was like?
I mean, like you said, our first show at Sidecar, the crowd was great. I don't know if that had anything to do with us or if it was just a built-in crowd, but it was amazing. It started out pretty hot, but once the sun went down, things cooled off enough to enjoy it, and it was just a fun show, man. A lot of familiar faces there and a lot of faces I didn't recognize. We had the couple of guys from Fever Tree stop by. Yes. Mike and John stopped by. There was Jason Moore. He stopped by.
Saw John Patrick there.
901 Rocks, Brian and his wife, Cindy. They were there. Just appreciate everybody coming out to check us out. We can't do it without you.
Yeah, it was a good time. So, all right, now, Pete Mendillo.
Yes.
Last week, we had Carolyn in here. We made the big announcement. We ran down the drummers and some of the guest musicians. We went through all the people that are going to be involved with this. But I thought it'd be cool now to talk about the songs they're expecting to hear. Yeah. Because part of the planning of this was more than just finding the right people. Yep. And scheduling and coordinating, but then you have to pick songs. Yeah. So that way people can know what they're going to play. Yep. What they might need to learn if they don't already know it. Yeah. You all good? You need a break?
Although it would be interesting to just have people come in not knowing what song they were going to do.
Do we need to pause for a second so you can finish that text?
No, it's not text. I'm looking up the list of songs.
Oh, look at you.
Look, I'm on time.
Being prepared,
here,
man.
I'm prepared. I'll
this is towards me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You're killing me, Smalls.
There you go.
I apologize. I will.
Shut up, man.
All right. So here we go. Yes, we got the list. So High on You starts the night.
Jimi Jamison Survivor tune.
Yeah, you and I get to play that together.
Absolutely.
Along with Jeff Adams.
Going to be singing vocals. That's going to be killer.
How fun is that going to be?
It's going to be awesome.
And then when we say that, also automatically just think, if we don't say guitar player or keyboard player, it's Josh Haynes, David Haynes.
It's Area 51 members.
Yeah, so they're the house band through the night. Yep. And we plug and play.
And then Carry On My Wayward Son. That's Bill Marshall and you, sir.
Man.
That's going to be fun for you.
You know, when I was given the opportunity to pick some songs, I wanted to pick some songs that I already knew.
Right.
And then I was like, Carry On My Wayward Son, fucking awesome song. I love playing it. But then to get to play with it with Bill Marshall, Josh Haynes, and David Haynes, I mean, it's amazing. Pinch me, right? So, and then Separate Ways, John Patterson and me. Yeah. And I promise you, after that song, I'm done. Yeah. We're going to move on to the Memphis staple bass players. Me and Jeff will be done out of there. Yeah. But listen, these combinations already and the different drummers we get to see. And then Dance Hall Days with Jimmy Fulp and Dave Smith.
It's going to be amazing.
Then we got Working for the Weekend.
Yep.
Oh, Doug McMinn.
And Davey Smith.
Rhythm section for the Deb Jam Band.
Yep.
They are awesome.
They are.
You're going to really enjoy that. Sledgehammer. Check it out.
Yep. That'll be Chris Cook and Davey Smith, which will be awesome.
And you'll see that when it comes to the bass players, we do 3 in a row each. We do 3. That way it's just we can move.
And you're
the
not.
drummers can switch out. Bam,
Exactly.
bam, bam.
Exactly.
Then, okay, now this one's interesting. Misty Mountain Hop.
Misty Mountain. I think it's Misty Mountain Top. I think I got a typo in there.
Oh,
But it's all good.
You don't remember my name?
holy shit, that's loud.
That is loud. That's going to be Chris Craig, Davey Smith, and Paul Moreau.
Right, so this is where Josh gets his one break.
Yeah, he gets a little bit of a
One song break.
Yep.
Send Her My Love.
Yeah.
Bobby Ireland
And
Sean Few.
Yeah.
Have they ever played together before?
I do not know the answer to that.
You get
But
these
it's-
interesting combinations, like Chris Craig, Davey Smith, Paul Moreau. I would gather those three guys have probably never played together.
I would think so. But yeah,
It's
going to be cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Rosanna, what a staple song. I mean, just an incredible tune. And we got Jason Cooper and Sean Few going to be doing that one.
So pause there,
Okay.
and because I don't know Jason,
Yeah.
so can you or
I don't know Jason personally either. He was one of the suggestions that the Area 51
Okay.
guys said, hey, contact him and get him in.
and I don't mean to be insulting.
No.
I just if you know because obviously you're going to know players more than I know anyone. So
Yeah.
so
There are a couple of names in here that are brand new to me.
okay.
So
Yeah, and again, thanks to Area 51 for bringing these people in, which is great because you wouldn't have thought of them, but clearly important.
they mattered enough for those guys to say, hey, reach out and get them in here.
Blue Collar Man, Jacob Turner and Sean Few,
Yep.
rhythm section formerly known as.
And this next song is a very cool tune that Fifth Kind used to do
Okay.
all the time. And, of course, Pete was the drummer for Fifth Kind. But Back on My Feet Again, that's going to be David Fike, Lance Binder, and Paul Moreau again.
Oh, that's right. Yep, another cool combination. Are you familiar with Dave Fike, or is that another?
I know of him. I know who he is, but I'm not personal friends or anything like that until now.
That's right.
know,
we're all going to be
we're
all
all-
going to be amazing friends
Yep.
after this.
Yep.
Easy Lover, Michael McClenny,
Yep.
Lance Binder.
Yep.
And Paul Moreau. So there's Paul Moreau's third song.
Yep.
He's got a few songs in between. So he's doing one, leaving for a few songs, coming back.
Right.
But Michael McClenny, drummer for
Thump Daddy.
Thump Daddy, thank you. All My Love,
Yep.
Tony Meharry, Lance Binder.
Yeah. And then 2112 Overture. This is a Rush tune. Todd Poole and Lance Binder.
Yeah, Lance has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like the last 6, 7.
He's a busy man.
Wow. I wonder if it's because no one wanted to play those songs.
And look,
What happened there?
this next song is one of my favorite
Okay.
Rush tunes, Subdivisions. Great song, and Johnny Lamb is going to be playing this one, and I'm a big fan of Johnny. I think he's a great drummer. So
Aquanet.
Yep, Aquanet, Fame, and it's going to be awesome to see him do that tune with Lance.
All right, pause. Back up. Todd Poole on drums. That's interesting to me because I forgot he is originally was a drummer.
Yes,
And
Saliva.
He was was he the original drummer for Saliva, like a founding member?
I believe that's the case.
Sorry if we're wrong.
Yeah,
everybody.
if we're wrong, I'm sorry, but I think that's right.
Okay, so I saw that. I was like, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Get to hear him play. And then now he's playing with Lance Binder.
Yeah, because
which
we're
is
used
cool.
to seeing Todd Poole out front as a vocalist.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's going to be really neat to see him play
Yeah.
drums.
Closer to the Heart.
Yep.
Ronnie Knight
Yep.
and Lance Binder. Yeah, poor Lance.
Yeah.
He's the first hour and then what appears to be the last 40 minutes of the show, the whole thing. Ronnie Knight, Rock the Boat.
Yeah.
And then Find Your Way Back with Alan Bone
Yeah.
and Lance Binder. Now, Alan Bone. Let's list off the bands he's in.
We don't have enough time.
901 Rocks, Boneyard, Every Mother's
Yeah.
Nightmare. And to go backwards, Bill Marshall, if you're not familiar, Almost Famous, John Patterson, Tor, then he's also John Peterson for Fever Tree.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fulp, Area 51, Broken Snare, Doug McMinn, and like we'd mentioned,
Doug McMinn's everywhere too.
Yeah.
Roxy Love,
Yeah.
Deb Jam Band,
yeah,
and some others.
yeah, and Chris Cook is with Roxy Blue,
And also Hairspray Nation.
the singer
Yep.
in Hairspray Nation. Chris Craig, Seeing Red, Lord Tracy, Bobby Ireland is Hairspray Nation.
You missed one with Chris Craig. We just interviewed him.
That's right, Fraser Boulevard. Hello, duh.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then when we hit the rest of those drummers, we got their bands and everything. So that's what you're gonna go see.
gonna
And
be
by
fun.
the way, no cover.
Right.
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 So help us celebrate Pete Mendillo and
Go say hi while you're there to Carolyn. She'll be there.
Yeah.
We love Carolyn. She came in here to do the intro last week. And we miss her husband, man. I miss Pete terribly, but we're going to celebrate the hell out of this guy because he deserves it.
And I'm going to continue to talk about this. This is something now you're going to hear every week here until showtime. So attention, Memphis music lovers. Prepare for a night to remember as we celebrate the life of legendary, Grammy-nominated drummer Pete Mendillo. Join us at Neil's Music Room on Sunday, July 21st, starting at 5 p.m. for a free show in his honor. Pete Mendillo, a name that resonates with the Memphis community, is known for his extraordinary talent and collaborations with iconic artists such as Jimi Jamison, Brian Howe, Brad Whitford, Savoy Brown, and Bobby Rush. This special evening will be a testament to his influence, with performances by dozens of local musicians and an astounding lineup of 16 drummers, which we just ran through, all uniting to admire Pete's unparalleled contributions to this community. Don't miss this unforgettable celebration of Pete at Neil's Music Room, July 21st, 5 p.m. Mark your calendar, spread the word, and help us honor Pete Mendillo.
Well done, sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Band dates: Generation X, playing the rockin' soundtrack of the lives of arguably the best generation, Generation X.
Yeah.
Saturday, June 29th, Sidecar South Haven. Saturday, July 6th, Dan McGinnis. Saturday, July 19th, Sidecar Memphis. Follow Generation X on Facebook at Generation X-Music.
Nicely done.
Yes,
Fever
sir.
Tree, a Memphis-based rock band, draws deeply from its southern roots to create a powerful and soulful blend of southern rock, blues, funk, and gritty rock and roll. You can check out the albums Social Mediocrity, I did that right, and Lessons Learned on Spotify and all other digital platforms. A review quote from Rock 103, Memphis, legendary radio station that we all miss very much. Fever Tree's first album, Lessons Learned, is a killer example of Memphis rock and roll. Be sure not to miss their live show. Learn more about Fever Tree at fevertreeband.com.
I'm switching it up. It's the first time you read the Fever Tree one.
Yeah.
So there we go. Area 51 will obliterate your auditory senses by covering artists such as Journey, Boston, yes, the Ides of March, and so many other great bands. Styx, you know it. Loves Area 51, does Baby Yoda. Friday, July 5th at Neil's Music Room. Thursday, July 18th at the Collierville Town Square Concert Series. Friday, July 19th at Dan McGinnis. Saturday, July 20th at Rock House Live Collierville. That's a busy weekend right there. Follow Area 51 on Facebook at Area 51 Memphis.
And Sean Few of Formerly Known As. Formerly Known As is the go-to party band that will give you a combination of rock, dance, and modern pop. Say hello to Sean, Jacob, Julian, and Seth, and get ready to boogie, oogie, oogie all night long. Saturday, June 29th at Lucky Dog. Thursday, July the 4th on the Peabody Rooftop. And follow Sean on Facebook at sean.few.7.
I have a lot of fun writing these stupid scripts. And they're going to change.
It's awesome.
Elevation Memphis is a versatile band that covers various musical genres, including country, R&B, blues, classic soul pop, and classic rock. The band is currently working on finishing an album. To help raise funds, Elevation Memphis has a consignment store that offers everything from home decor to the latest fashion brands. All proceeds will go towards their original project. Go to elevationmemphis.com and click the shop tab at the top for all shopping. Plus, Elevation Memphis, a Tina Turner tribute experience, will return to Lafayette's Music Room on Saturday, September 7th at 5 p.m. Reserve your seats now and join us to celebrate the great Tina Turner. For booking, shopping, and social media, please visit elevationmemphis.com.
Yeah.
All right. We're starting to sound professional finally.
Yeah,
I think.
It's getting there.
Tommy Cathey, man, what a pleasure meeting him. It's the first time I get to meet him. Had you met him before this?
I had not personally met him before this. I'd seen him play many times.
Same here.
But never said hi.
Nice guy.
Super nice
So
guy,
cool.
and I don't think it's out of line to use the term legend.
I think it's fair.
I think that's fair.
Very, very true. And you'll learn this in this interview.
Yeah.
The people he's played with, but then the people he's opened up for and rubbed shoulders with, and just every damn icon you can think of. He's been around. We learn about a few things here. We're just going to punch some bullet points here and then get to the interview. So we find out that he started on guitar, and his inspiration to move to bass was Pete Cetera.
Yeah.
Found that very interesting. And then you were like, he's the bass player?
Yeah.
For them.
Right. Right. No, I didn't know.
Chicago. I was missing the name.
Yep.
Dude played the American Bandstand.
Yeah.
How cool is that? With a band called Caboose.
Caboose.
But we found the first name was Butterscotch Caboose.
Which is a epic band name.
Which then I coin as meaning sweet ass.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Now, trivia question, Jeff. Do you remember who the first band that Tommy and Jimmy played in?
Well, yeah.
Is it Target?
No.
What band is it?
It was Omaha.
I know, right?
Do
you remember Omaha?
It was a Peyton Manning.
Omaha.
Yeah.
Omaha. So first band with Jimmy was a cover band.
Yep.
That led into Target, and then of course we jump into Target. Or this is really the foundation of this interview. We go deep into Target and the origin story, the writing, the recording. They had a record deal. It was awesome, and Tommy, like so many, open to talk about anything and just delivered awesomely for us. Then we dig more into Jimi Jamison, just him as a person. Of course, anytime we have someone in here that's worked with Jimmy, talk about Jimmy.
Want to hear all about it.
Go ahead, open the floor, talk about Jimmy.
Yeah.
And then DeGarmo and Key.
And I was not aware of this. This is great information. I didn't know that he was with DeGarmo and Key.
So you had heard of the band?
Oh, I've heard of DeGarmo and Key. I listened to them back many, many years ago.
And you didn't know that was him in it?
I did not know he was in that band.
And in the Gospel Music Hall of Fame.
Yep.
So,
and then also the Christian rap part of this, DC Talk, who is I'm familiar with them because my son listened to DC Talk, which is a Christian rap thing.
This conversation took such a turn for me.
Yep.
Because in the research I missed the rap part. I just see produced this. So I bring it up. He's like, yeah, I produced Christian rap. I was like, do you rap? Are you a rapper?
Is Christian rap a thing?
It just seems so out of left field, but a great story there. And then yes, we end the night or the show with Almost Famous.
Yeah,
we joined, giving love to the guys, and it was a great time.
And we say every week or all the time that don't take for granted these amazing bands that you have the opportunity to see in this town. Almost Famous, literally, when you go see Almost Famous, you should be paying $100 a ticket, and they should be playing for several thousand of you. I mean, that's just the way it should be. It's not that way. We're spoiled, but don't take it for granted. Get out and support these guys.
Where the value comes in is that's why they do so much corporate, private function work and making a good living doing it. And then they do pop out publicly. Lafayette's is really the main place. So I think they just, as we record this on the 23rd, they just did Lafayette's. And then during the summertime, they do a lot of fairs and festivals that are public. And I think they just did one in Bartlett or Colleyville, one of those two. But just can't say enough about that band. They've been doing it a long time. Tommy's been with them, I think he said 15 years.
I don't remember.
And he's not the new guy. He's not the original.
Right.
So they've been doing this a minute. So, all right. I think, yes, nice short one. We realize these last intros have been very long.
Yeah.
So we're trying to cut to the chase here and get you to Tommy. But first, remember to join us for our exclusive TRS Sunday Replay series. We bring you back to our favorite episodes and interviews on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify every Sunday.
Yeah, and thanks to our band sponsors as always. And again, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Find all channels at therhythmsectionpod.com.
And don't forget about our tip bucket. Sorry, we have to repeat this every day, but it's part of our ad because we would love the support if possible. So if you want to donate, you can access us in Venmo and CashApp. You can find the links in our episode social media descriptions. Scan that QR code on your screen or search the Rhythm Section Pod on either app. As you would guess, that support would be amazingly appreciated and would just straight up help, move this cause forward for us and you and the community and whatever, people are very kind to us when we see them in public, and they're grateful for what this show does for the community, and we want to keep it going for everybody. So, all right, Jeff, what do you say?
That's it, man.
Enjoy our interview with Mr. Tommy Cathey.
Thanks.
All right, y'all, welcome to the feature interview. Boy, is this a special one. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tommy Cathey. So
thank you,
ladies and gentlemen. You can do the Prince Diana thing, whatever. Well, thanks for being here, Tommy.
Man, it's my pleasure. I've seen your podcast with several of my friends on it, so cool. It's an honor to be here.
That's great, and like so many times, I'm meeting the guests for the first time, so it's a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, man. My pleasure to meet you guys.
Seen you play many times.
Oh, good.
But never came up and said hi like I should have.
You should have.
Sometimes I'm just goofy that way.
My first time seeing you all was many years ago at the Gold Strike.
Yeah.
2006. I had just started playing down there, coming in from Nashville, and I knew when Almost Famous was at Gold Strike, we would leave our little horseshoe gig playing for the Blue Hairs at the slot machines, because Almost Famous pulled everyone away, and you guys always had. I mean, you guys rocked it. It was great.
Well, unfortunately, when you did the horseshoe, you basically want to be wallpaper.
Yeah.
Oh,
and they're better now as far as volume.
Oh, good.
But back then,
yeah, it was.
Dude,
it was tough.
It was. Oh.
And fortunately, the Gold Strike would let you play.
Yeah. And still to this day, in my opinion, still the premier place, because they have a full system in there. They let you play.
Yes, indeed. Full-time sound guy, all that.
Yep. So, well, very cool. Boy, I mean, we have a long list of stuff to cover with Mr. Tommy Cathey. Anyone that doesn't know, bass player for now currently, this great cover band in this area called Almost Famous. And it's because they were famous at one point, but they're being a little self-deprecating, I think, right?
Well, whatever. Whatever.
Well, very cool. So I went on Wikipedia and found a bunch of stuff with you, as we talked earlier, and we got some of your projects in list right now. So
the first band you were a part of was called Panty Hamster. No, just kidding. No, it's close. Butterscotch Caboose. I love it.
Yeah.
I moved to Memphis in 1970, in January of 1970, to audition for this band. They were looking for a bass player that was not known around the town, and I got a call from the guitar player who was from Dyersburg, which is where I'm from, and was living at the time. And he called me up to audition, and I did, and I just stayed. I've been here since 1970.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
and we did it. We were fortunate enough that we were we did a record, an album. I guess you can call that. We did an album at Lynn Studios, and we had a song that charted like in the top 50 on Billboard, and that was my introduction to doing original music. Okay. And we even got to do American Bandstand and meet all those cool cats,
nice.
Dick Clark and
you did American Bandstand?
Yeah, sure did.
Very cool. So you were famous right out of the gate.
Almost.
Right out of the gate. So when did you start playing? Usually we start there. We kind of just jumped right ahead.
I jumped right in.
No, I led it into that. So, but yeah, so 1970 you move here and you're already playing. So let's talk about how you started and when.
I was actually started out playing guitar, and at best was mediocre guitar player. And the band I was playing with at the time had a really good bass player, so he wasn't there long. Somebody grabbed him up, another band in Dyersburg, and I was elected to play bass.
There you go.
So I switched from guitar to bass, and it was just such a natural transition for me, and it just felt so normal to be able to play that role in the band that I never went back to guitar.
Yeah.
And so that was about when I was 14.
Okay.
And then when I was 18 is when I moved to Memphis.
Okay. You and I share the equal historic story.
What is that?
Look, the space was sarcasm there. Well, no, so similar. I started on guitar, mediocre at best. In high school, my cousin in a different high school had a band. The bass player graduates.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew a buddy that had a bass and a bass amp. I was like, Ronnie, cousin, I'll be in your band if you let me. I know where to get the stuff. He's like, sure, come on in. And bass player ever since. But
I mean, if you're like me, I didn't have a bass. So my mother ordered from Sears a Silvertone bass.
my first guitar was at Sears
Yeah.
Roebuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I played a Silvertone bass for about 3-4 years. Then I graduated to a Gibson EBO.
Yeah. And if I started a band today, it would be not even close to famous. That's what it would be called. But, so very cool.
The days when you could order both your guitar and your shotgun.
Yeah, that's
from
right.
Sears.
That's right.
And maybe sneak over to the bra section, just saying. That's all we had back then,
Yeah,
right?
that's it.
Or, scrambling Cinemax.
Right,
Trying to find something in there. But so what are those early influences? When you move to bass, do you then start navigating to all the great bass players?
Well, yeah, to a degree, heavily influenced by James Jamerson.
Heard of them?
The fabulous Motown bass player. And
One finger the whole time.
man, amazing. Just amazing he could do all that stuff with one finger.
Yeah, and I've heard that sounds funny. But I also heard like these legendary stories about his bass was like not good. Like the action was awful on it.
Right. I've heard that too.
But the stuff he came up with,
Amazing.
it's
man.
hard to mimic.
Well,
It's-
you really
can't.
man. You
It's
really
so much
can't.
feel in there. And
If you listen to just the one song, the Four Tops, "I'll Be There," listen to the bass line to that, and it's mind-boggling. I guess really the next bass player that I was really enamored with was Jack Bruce.
okay, Cream.
And with Cream, of course, and so he's really the reason I bought a EBO bass, Gibson EBO bass.
Is that what he was playing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like the neck on it was like a 2x4. It was horrible playing bass.
And the body style is like a Gibson SG, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And he's the reason I bought that bass. I just loved his bass playing, and he was a major influence. And then you go from there. I lived through the British invasion and all that, and
Have you heard of Paul McCartney?
well, yes, I understand he's a pretty good bass player. Yeah,
Little known guy.
Yeah.
very little known, but still good.
Hey, I even know who that bass player is.
Good
So
job,
if
Joe.
you guys mention a bass player that I recognize, we're doing something.
All right.
Well done, sir.
Yes.
And oddly enough, or maybe not oddly enough, the first time I heard Chicago, their first record, which was Chicago Transit Authority, and the first track I put it on was "I'm a Man," and Peter Cetera.
Overlooked as a
man.
bass player.
Oh, man.
They know him as the voice.
I didn't
and
even know he
songwriter.
played bass.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I had
man.
no idea.
Well,
Oh,
you
yeah.
listen to "I'm a Man," and the first thing you hear is his bass, and you can hear his pick on those strings. And I was like, I want to sound like that.
I'm glad you brought that up because obviously when I watch a bass player, they pick fingers,
Yeah.
both, whatever. Absolute pick bass player
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
So that's where it started.
That's where it started.
So it didn't start because you went from guitar to bass.
No.
Okay.
No. Because when I first started playing bass, I used my fingers.
Uh-huh.
But
Woohoo! Yeah. Baby. Did you use one or two?
but when I heard that song and heard that pick on the strings, I just said, I want to sound like that. And so that's where I started playing.
Because your sound is super punchy because
yeah, well,
of that
thank
pick.
you, man.
Yeah.
That's what I was going for.
They're locking right in with Bill.
And I was just flabbergasted. And I'm a big Chicago fan, but a big Peter Cetera fan.
Yeah, and overlooked, like I said, as a bass player.
Absolutely is, man.
He was great on that early stuff.
I've always loved him as a vocalist.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think he's an
incredible.
amazing vocalist.
Amazing.
I didn't even know he played
And
bass.
that's why he was separated
it-
over time. There was,
Yeah, if you get a chance, get that first record, Chicago Transit Authority,
Sure.
and listen to "I'm a Man," and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
Yeah. So anyone else after that? I mean, as you keep going?
All the greats. I mean, John Paul Jones with Zeppelin was just...
He was one that went back and forth.
Yes, but just an incredible bass player with such imaginative lines that he would put in those songs. Yeah. And I guess he had to be, being it was basically a 3-piece band.
Sure.
And I love John Paul Jones. Just so cool, man.
Another very unique, one-of-a-kind feel.
Yeah, man.
And note combinations is just totally different. You know, he's
totally cool, man.
He's tying in Jimmy Page and John Bottom.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to be on your game with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So outside of bass players, what are some of your favorite bands? What are you listening to?
Well, starting out as a youngster, in the era of Jimi Hendrix, I was a big Jimi Hendrix fan.
Yeah.
And that bass player gets no love.
No. And just all, Cream. I loved Cream, Hendrix, Chicago. All those bands of theirs were so innovative and so new. There was nothing like it until they came along.
Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Earth, Wind, and Fire, love them, man. Just love them.
What's the name of that bass player? I'm forgetting. Sorry, man. Sorry, buddy.
I can't remember, but he's really phenomenal.
We bring people in here to put them on the spot.
Yeah, you make me look like an idiot, so it's okay. All right.
I need to find a sound that signals being thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
I got to figure that out. Sorry about that.
I can relate.
Okay, so you're an amazing bass player.
Thank you.
You show up to Memphis in '70. You're in the Butterscotch Caboose.
Correct.
You're playing American Bandstand.
Yeah.
What is that experience like? Let's stop on American Bandstand. How did that work?
That's got to be a
How did you get on it?
All
and
right.
what was that experience like?
Well, we had a song from the album that charted in Billboard in the top 50. Our management at that time, you probably guys are way too young to know this name, but his name was Tom Carr. He had a production company in Memphis, and he was doing concerts. Mm-hmm. Well, he met and married our female lead singer. And he through his connections, we did American Bandstand.
So then how does that work? When is there rehearsals? Like, how does that lip sync work?
It was basically lip sync.
Okay.
You had to do the whole mimic thing?
Yeah.
Even instruments and everything?
Everything.
Yeah.
And for a kind of a country boy coming from small town and moving to the big town of Memphis, and then all of a sudden I'm doing American Bandstand.
Sure.
I'm like,
this is easy.
I was starstruck, It was an amazing experience.
And this shows my ignorance. Hopefully this is not a completely stupid question, but where was American Bandstand filmed?
Los Angeles.
L.A.? Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it had to be L.A. or New York.
Well, and at that time, and we stayed on Sunset Strip, and it was wall-to-wall hippies.
Yeah.
All day, all night.
Sure.
So I fit right in with them.
Because this is 70?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's still smoking, literally.
Yes, literally.
Yeah. Did you meet Dick Clark?
I did. Yeah, he was very, very cordial. Treated us great. We did the show, and on the show that we were on, they had an artist named Ardeen Taylor. I know you guys not going to know who that is, but he had a song called "Indiana Wants Me."
Okay.
And that was a hit record for him, and I never heard from him after that. But that's who we were on with.
I'll be there.
That's really cool. So then, when it's done, because was it live? Was it or film or
No,
taped?
it was filmed.
So you were able to watch it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because nowadays, you can go on YouTube and watch it anytime, but back then you didn't have that. What was it like watching it?
Oh, it was cool. The coolest part about it was my family got to see it, and Dick Clark was an icon, and,
Sure.
and it was pretty cool, man. I mean, to think that I was on a national television show doing a song and playing.
Yeah.
Kind of playing.
Sure. Did you at least plug the guitars in so it looked like you?
I can't remember honestly, but probably not.
Yeah.
Now, is there any video of this out there anywhere?
I think there is. I think you can go to the archives of American Bandstand and find it. Yeah.
And search Butterscotch Caboose. Now, you'd mentioned off mic before we started, it switched to just Caboose.
When we did the album, yeah.
And so when you do the show, it's just Caboose.
Caboose, right.
All right, so search Caboose.
That's unfortunate.
I know. Well, I mean, how do we land on Butterscotch Caboose?
Yeah, I don't know. that was their name before.
Does that mean sweet ass?
Possibly. Possibly. They were already a band when I joined the group. So. And my first introduction to the Memphis music scene, I was unknown and I didn't know anybody. But we had the drummer that I played with. You may know a guy named Joel Williams. Well, he was a drummer and just an exceptional drummer. And later he did the D. Beaver and Combinations record with us. And I still see Joe and play golf with him occasionally.
Oh, yeah. I know you're an avid golfer, for sure. I want to touch on that. All so right. Me and Jeff can have no idea what you're talking about. Well, okay. So next band, Alamo.
Alamo.
Tell us more about Alamo.
Alamo was had Larry Raspberry and Ken Woodley, and Richard Roseborough was the drummer, and they had a bass player. His name was Twitch, is what they called him.
Nice.
and Larry decided, they did a record for Atlantic Records, and I don't know the reason why Larry wanted to leave, but he did, and when he did, he left. The bass player left as well, and Ken was looking for replacements. I was recommended by a really good friend of mine, Buddy Davis. And I went and sat in and played just kind of an audition, really. And he said, "Yeah, I want you." And you guys know who Robert Johnson is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
The guitar player.
Kind of heard that name.
They called him the Fraser Flash, but and just an exceptional guitar player. And so Robert and I took the place of Larry and Twitch.
Were you by that time not with Caboose anymore?
No, I'd left Caboose to join Alamo.
Oh, so you band right?
Yeah.
From the next.
Yeah.
Were they sad to see you go?
I don't know. I'm not sure. They may have broke up not too long after that.
So they had a record deal when you went in?
Yeah, they did with Atlantic Records. And I was with that band a little over a year, and I think we did 2 gigs.
Okay.
One of them was with Steppenwolf in Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
We flew to Atlanta and
Very
opened
cool.
for Steppenwolf.
Nice.
Magic Carpet Ride.
Yeah,
was that out by that time?
Yeah. And we went to the old Ardent studio on National, and Ken was a really good songwriter, good singer, good keyboard player, and we went over there and recorded about 3 songs, I think. And not long after that, that band broke up.
Okay, so that's how that ended for
Yeah.
you. Now this bridges to Jimi Jamison.
Right.
Like so many artists that's been in here. He's played with a lot of people and touched a lot of hearts, for sure.
Man.
But it's not Target.
No.
We're not getting to Target
No,
yet.
not yet.
It is Omaha.
Omaha.
Okay.
They were a band that was playing. I'd seen them at the Shell and other places, and I honestly can't remember my introduction to them, but they needed a sub one time, and somehow they got in touch with me, and I went and played with them. And not long after that, I joined their band. Left Alamo and joined their band. They were doing stuff like Neil Young, Southern Man, and
So it's a cover band.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And but you know, right from the get-go, you knew how good the singer was.
Yeah.
And from that, I was in that band maybe a year and a half or so, and Jimmy and I did a record with David Beaver called D. Beaver and Combinations, and we were with that band for maybe a year or so. And like a lot of the original bands in that time, we may have done 2 or 3 gigs in a year, you know.
Yeah.
But Jimmy and I got the bug for writing songs through David, and we said, well, why don't we start an original band?
Okay.
and from that was born Target.
Okay. Why the name? Where'd that name come from?
Well, we had a rehearsal house when we first started. We were rehearsing, trying to get it together, and we took a break, walked out on the porch. We were trying to think of names for the band, and over in the distance, across the field, was a barn, and on top of the barn was a huge advertisement for Target tobacco, and it had a huge bullseye. And we said, let's just call it Target.
Hey.
Done deal.
Works.
So many names come up that way.
Yeah. And that's what it was called.
Okay.
Who are the members of Target?
The original band was Jimmy and myself, Buddy Davis, keyboard player named Marius Pinsner, and the drummer's name was Steve Freeze.
Okay.
That was the original band.
Mm-hmm.
Did members change out over the years?
Yeah, over the years we got a drummer. Joel Williams was a drummer for Target for a while.
Okay.
And then we got a guy who played drums named David Spain, who grew up with Buddy Davis. That had played in bands with Buddy when he was a lot younger. So we got David, and Marius left, the keyboard player, so we decided we'd get another guitar player. And that's when we asked Paul Cannon to join the band. Paul was a studio musician and just he played with the Shortcuts back in the day and a couple other bands, and we all admired and respected him and asked him to join the band. He did.
Nice.
What was that early writing like?
Well, the way we approached it was basically like a job. We rehearsed 5 days a week, 6-8 hours a day.
Nice.
And someone would bring in an idea, and we just built on that.
Right.
And at the time, Buddy was the premier songwriter in the band. But when we would rehearse, somebody would just come up with an idea, and we just built on that.
Something to add, maybe change this, maybe this could be a good bridge,
Right.
that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But that's amazing to hear, rehearsing like it's a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
A lot of younger musicians don't understand that. They see the finished product and they think, well, it's not that hard. No.
Yeah.
These guys put in a lot of time.
Yeah,
you know?
we did.
So,
We did. It was every day, 5 days a week for 5, 6, 8 hours a day.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's grilling for there.
Yeah.
So at what point do you grow to the point where you actually record something?
We'd accumulated enough songs for a record, but had no idea that we were going to do a record. And we were playing a club in Midtown on Cooper called High Cotton. And one night, Jim Dandy and a couple of guys from Black Oak came in and heard the band and went back and told their manager, Butch Stone, that he needed to come check this band out.
Okay.
And so Butch had his ends with the record industry because he had Black Oak, Arkansas.
Sure.
And it just went from there. Butch came, heard the band. He called us up to his hotel room after the gig and said, I'd like to represent you guys and let's get you a record deal.
Nice.
I wish it was always that easy, right?
Yeah, right.
But I say that, but no, because you guys put the work in.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so we had enough songs to do a record, and decided we'd do it in town at Ardent.
Okay.
And we went in there, and he got us a producer from Chicago. His name was John Ryan. He had produced Styx.
Heard of them?
Yeah. And he had produced them, and so Butch got him to produce the first Target record.
Okay.
We didn't particularly get along with John that great.
Okay.
As that happens with the musicians and a producer.
Trying to
Especially-
change things.
Yeah, and you don't really know this guy, and he's coming in trying to switch stuff around, and we didn't really get along with him that great. But it panned out, and we got the album finished, and we went to Los Angeles to the record plant to mix it. Just so happens we're in there mixing, and in the next room there's a band cutting their next album called Hotel California.
Oh,
And so we got to meet the guys with the Eagles and got to just hang with them for a bit. And they were in there cutting hotel.
The quintessential lineup,
Yeah,
too.
man.
Yeah.
The real guys.
Randy Meisner.
Randy
bass.
Meisner. Actually, Joe Walsh was with him at this time.
Yeah,
He'd
yeah.
just gotten with him.
Yeah.
And that was another point where you're going, this is the Eagles, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe I was the only one, but I always thought Timothy B. Schmidt was the guy.
Oh,
so when I
man.
heard all those old records, I thought it was him. But no,
I thought it was him.
it's Randy Meisner.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Randy Meisner, yeah.
And what's the song that he hits that high note that he sings?
Witchy Woman.
Once again, I won't even hit the sound. Yeah, I will.
You don't remember my name?
Anyways, moving forward. But influence?
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. And he had a good solo record after he left the Eagles. Great voice, great bass player.
He had the high harmonies.
Yeah.
And he sang some
really
some
high,
leads.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're hanging out with them down the hallway.
We were mixing at that time and got the album mixed. And while we were out there, just kind of hung out because it took a few days to get it mixed and hung out. And we heard of a concert that was going on at Anaheim Stadium. And I'm kind of backtracking a little bit because we were going to the concert and we were in the back of the stage and the security guys wouldn't let us in. Just so happens, Jeff Beck was about to go on stage. Aerosmith was finishing their set. Jeff Beck had met Buddy Davis in Memphis, bought a guitar from him, and Buddy gave him a Hawaiian-type shirt to as a gift with the guitar.
Sure.
He was wearing the shirt to get ready to go on stage. And Buddy started yelling at him, and he saw us, and he was motioning for the security guy to let us in. The guy wouldn't let us in. He came off the stage and walked back to where we were at the gate and told him to let us in.
And
we
you
got to
walk
go-
all proud by the security officer. It's like,
Well,
that's
sure.
right.
See?
Doing the Ric Flair strut right by him. Like, that's right, dog. Here we
that's
come.
it. That's it. And so that was a cool thing. But once we got the album done, it was on A&M Records. Major label, had some big artists, man. Supertramp, Styx, Peter Frampton. I mean,
And what year are we talking?
76.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's the heart of this heyday of this music.
Yeah. So because we were with that A&M Records, they put us as the opening act on a lot of their acts. The first major tour that we did, we opened for Black Sabbath for about 30 dates.
Really?
Yeah, and it was the first time they'd been back to the States in a few years, and we were playing the sold-out venues every night. Every Coliseum, every place we played was sold out.
What was the style of your music?
Well, it was Target. It was rock and roll, man. Hard, not hard, heavy metal, but just kind of hard rock and roll.
Did it mix well?
Yeah,
What
it
was
did.
the reception?
It was great.
Okay.
We got really good response and good reviews. But to be thrust into that scene.
Hey, Ozzy.
You know.
What's up, man?
And I've got a picture I'll show you in a minute of us backstage with Black Sabbath. But they treated us probably better than any other acts we opened for, man. Nice. They were so nice to us and let us fly our backdrop, gave us sound checks, and some bands won't let you do that.
Yeah.
But they were just exceptional.
Did they let you use like the full light show? Because that's another thing they usually pull back on.
We could use anything we wanted.
Awesome.
And we used a house sound guy that did every show that finally got used to our songs and was able to mix us real well. It was with a company called Showco, was probably the biggest sound company in the States at that time. And but to be thrust into that scene, man, playing to 10, 15,000 people every night, and we're just playing high cotton, to a bunch of drunk fools that are hearing the band. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Well, while we're talking, now that you guys are on the road, I don't remember why I found this video, but it's a video of you I think the title was something Japan. You might have been. Did you ever tour Japan?
No.
It was some. I don't remember where it's at, but it's you doing a solo.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you're wearing a really nice suit, and then in the middle of the solo, you stop playing and you do this to your collars. You settle. I don't know how to explain that, but
I know exactly. What
almost
you're
like you tighten your tie. It's
Yeah.
like, that's right, I'm the shit.
Yeah.
And then you went back to it.
Yeah.
And you had sunglasses.
Yeah.
And you were just real stone faced.
Exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay,
That was with DeGarmo and Key.
Okay, which something we'll get to. Okay,
yeah, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I was kind of portraying the cool, kind of,
oh, you were cool
into myself kind of thing.
That's right. Yeah.
It was a character that I portrayed. Yeah.
Okay, but we're gonna build to that.
Okay.
So still on Target. So how long are you touring that first record?
We did that for about a year. When we were opening for Styx, Boston, Peter Frampton, we did some major shows with, huge. You don't get bigger than Peter Frampton. Yeah. He had the double live album out, which was like,
oh my gosh,
unbelievable. You know?
It changed the game.
Yeah, it did.
It changed the industry in some ways.
And we were out doing those shows, and then it was time to do another record after about a year. And we were still with A&M.
Sorry if I missed this. What's the name of the first record?
Target.
Okay.
Self-titled.
Self-titled.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And
I've got a question.
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt, but
no problem.
In that time period when you're put on stage opening for these major acts like that, how are you guys paid? Are you paid per show? Are you paid under contract? How did that work?
All right. At that time, we were paid per show, but not much.
Sure.
But at that time, record companies gave what you call tour support.
Okay.
So we would get enough money from the record company to keep us on the road. We weren't getting rich by any means.
Sure.
But it was keeping us out there and giving us the exposure that we needed.
Because you owe them every dollar back, right?
Well, yeah. Good luck on getting it, but yeah.
And you're hoping that you end up being the guy that you're opening for.
Yes, exactly.
That's what you're wanting to do, because those are the guys making the money.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so back to the studio.
So we get ready to go back in after we had gone back into the rehearsal room and got enough songs to record the second album. And right before it was time to go back in, Buddy Davis decides he wants to leave the band.
And he was one of the head writers, right?
Right, and really, really great guitar player, but he wanted to leave the band. So it kind of put us in an odd position. We were ready to go cut the record, but we were minus a guitar player. But we were not going to scrap the second record.
Mm-hmm.
We went in to Macon, Georgia at Capricorn Studios, and we had a guy named Paul Hornsby produced us. He produced Marshall Tucker, and he played with Wayne Alma. He's just a well-known guy. And we went in with just Paul Cannon doing the guitar stuff. And we spent a few months in Macon, Georgia doing that record.
Okay.
It took a lot of work because we were minus one of the guys.
Yeah, but everything was written.
Yes,
Yeah.
all the tunes were ready to go.
Uh-huh.
And went in and did that project. And the album was called Captured.
Okay.
So we did that, and then we had to find replacements for Buddy, because we were still going out on the road.
Yeah,
playing all
right
the
back
time.
at it.
Yeah,
Sure. I mean, the label needs to push you.
Exactly. So we replaced Buddy with a keyboard player and a guitar player.
Mm-hmm.
So the band grew a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we were out on the road.
More
again.
mouths to feed, right?
Yeah. So we were out on the road again, just kicking it.
So again, right back to major opening acts.
Yeah.
Or opening opportunities.
Opening opportunities. Plus, we were doing some of the major club venues. The most memorable one, we were in Long Island, and we were playing at a place called My Father's Place.
Okay.
And the night before we played, we went to it just to check it out. Jack Bruce was playing. I mean, one of my idols, you know, and he was playing at the club that we were going to play at. I was like, it doesn't get any better than this, man.
Right.
But we were doing some of those major club.
Were you headlining these clubs
Yeah.
now? So now you got a headlining situation. Had you ever done those clubs album number one?
No.
Okay, so you're growing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're headlining some venues.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Oh, it was great. It put us in a position that we went from here to here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Selling your own tickets.
yeah, and the record was going good. We toured for another year, and you know, things happen with bands, and we broke up.
Wow.
Yeah.
We broke up in '82, the end of '82.
You know, was it one of those things where business disagreements, personality disagreements, mixture of everything?
There were not a lot of disagreements within the band, but we were having problems with management.
You hear that all the time.
Yeah, it's the age old story, man.
And was it the same fellow that you met through Jim Dandy?
Yeah, and we just could not negotiate a deal that was comfortable for us, that we felt like we were maintaining our status as musicians. We couldn't, although we were growing in momentum, we weren't growing as far as making money and being suppressed.
Sure.
So we decided that was it.
Yeah. I mean, that's
you're not out there just to go have a good time.
No.
Trying to make a living.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
And so that's basically what happened to that band.
So before we move on now, let's, if you don't mind, let's talk some Jimi Jamison.
Okay.
You know, beloved, clearly, here in this town. Yeah. And we love hearing about him. Yeah. And you worked very closely with him.
Yeah.
So what was he like? You know, what was that experience like working with him and writing with him?
Well, the way that we wrote our songs, somebody would bring in a riff or a song, and we would go in and just hammer it out. But Jimmy wrote all the lyrics, 90% of them anyway. And we would go in and rehearse for hours and hours, and then we'd cassette tape it. And he would take the cassette home, and 3-4 days later, we go back in. He goes, let's try this. And he would have lyrics, and we'd just go from there.
We also hear he was a fun person.
He was a fun person.
Do you have any funny stories?
Man, some I can't tell.
We'll do those off the air.
Yeah. I mean, enough can't be said about his vocals. You know, just phenomenal. And I was kind of on the ground floor of that, with Omaha starting there and seeing it grow to what it did.
Yeah. So, between the two bands, I mean, you worked with them for how many years? Probably 5 years or so? Yeah. And then you see him go, does he, at that point, go to Survivor?
He went to a band called Cobra.
I remember Cobra.
Okay, yep.
And from there, he went to Survivor.
Okay. Yeah.
I learned more about Target and Cobra after hearing Vital Signs. That's where I learned about Jimi Jamison, was Vital Signs.
Right.
And then I'm like, who is this guy? He is amazing.
Yeah.
So then I do some research, and that's when I find out about Target. And
you go retro, right?
Yeah.
You go backwards.
Well, that was before your time.
Yeah. I mean, 82, I'm 12 years old. I didn't really get into music until 86, 87.
Yeah.
Was when I was really starting to come into that.
Right.
So,
well, you know, in the mid-'70s, Memphis was thriving with good bands. I mean, thriving, and the venues were full every night. There were places to play. You could make a living doing it. That all started changing in the late 80s, you know. And things just...
The early 90s is when it was really cut.
Yep.
For sure.
It just went downhill from there, and still to this day, and in my opinion, will never get back to that thriving scene it was in the 70s. Never will.
But it still has the heart, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
I can only say that after learning about all these stories, including yours.
Yeah, it still does have the heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's something special about Memphis and Memphis musicians.
Yeah, it doesn't take long to almost know everybody.
Yeah.
It's such a cool family, the Memphis music family.
Yep,
right,
sure.
Steve Owens? Shout out to him. Okay, so now we move to, where is it? DeGarmo and Key.
DeGarmo and Key.
And I found this. It says, you are the legendary Memphis musician and Gospel Music Hall of Fame inductee for your groundbreaking work with DeGarmo and Key. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
sir.
Thank you.
I found that somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, that sounds like an internet comment. But no, just a rewarding experience. They were pioneers, really, in the Christian rock genre. And I was with them about 12 years, and we were inducted into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame in 2011. And I was already playing with Almost Famous at that time.
Oh, okay.
And so when we went to accept the award, I happened to look out, and my guys in Almost Famous came in. It was like, I was shocked. It was in Nashville.
Okay.
And for support, and it was really endearing. But on the same night that we were inducted, they inducted Johnny Cash. And his brother accepted for him.
Okay.
But I was going, man, it just don't get any better than Johnny Cash, and we're on the same level with him. Not really, but we're getting the same award,
I mean, you must pinch yourself when you think of all the artists that you got to meet.
Yeah, man.
All the bands you opened up for. I mean, legends.
Yeah, it was. I wouldn't change anything, honestly.
So being in the gospel space, did you know Mark Goodman?
Yes, knew him well.
Oh, okay.
Knew him well.
Well,
Sweetheart, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes,
man,
yes.
we love Mark.
Man,
Yes.
Mark, miss him so much.
Yeah.
Even just weeks before he passed, I was doing background vocals at his studio for different artists, and I maintained a relationship with him throughout.
anyone that doesn't know, he won 2 Grammys in the space. He worked with bands like Earth, Wind, and Fire as engineer. He was an engineer and producer for all kinds of people.
Yeah, man, just a sweetheart.
He
of
had
a guy.
a local studio here in Memphis, and Derrick and I don't remember how we met him.
Well,
but,
I met him through you. So
yeah, and I don't remember how I met him, but I did, and I got the opportunity to go into his studio and play drums, and he was so encouraging and telling me that I was good and I could do it.
Yeah.
he was delusional, but it's
he
okay.
was. He was.
No, I know you and I cut stuff.
Yeah,
together.
we cut some stuff together in his studio. Had a blast.
Yeah.
So he was just a great guy. And
Yeah,
we were
man.
shocked when we heard that he passed
As
away.
was I.
I wish I
Totally
could.
floored, man.
I wish I could download from the heavens all of his jokes.
Yeah,
He
man.
was
And
hilarious.
it was never ending.
It was nonstop and always funny.
Yeah, man.
Just quips.
Yeah, man.
So fast, and
Loved
he was
Mark.
such a great guy. Yeah, I mean, I loved him, miss him.
Yeah, man.
I wish he could be on this show.
I know.
He would have been one of the first guests. I'm telling you.
And he would have been great.
Oh,
It would have been so funny.
Oh, he's a great storyteller. And let's face it, talented.
Yeah.
At what he
was
did.
a drummer.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he used to, go to the Deb Jam Band stuff every Tuesday. He was a big follower there, and unfortunately, that's actually where he passed.
Yeah, it is.
But he passed in the place he loved.
Yeah.
That was the stage.
That's it.
So, well, thanks for, doing, we love talking Mark Goodman. Anyone that knows him,
I'm a big fan of Mark.
So going back to DeGarmo and Key, let's talk about how that started for you.
Well, Target had broken up. I was working at the guitar workshop behind Strings and Things, 4 Strings and Things, and we hadn't been broken up that long, maybe 6 months or so, and I was just doing odd gigs with different people here and there, and I had gone up to the store, the front of the store for some reason, and Eddie DeGarmo came in. I didn't know him personally, but I knew of him, and he just came right up to me and said, "Would you be interested in going out and playing some gigs?" Sure, sure. And so I went out and played a few gigs with him, did rehearsals and learned the songs, and went out and did some gigs. And then they asked me if I would just be a permanent member of the band. And I was with them for about 12 years.
Wow,
Great
that's
experience.
a run. Wow,
great experience.
a lot of road work.
All the time, gone constantly, man.
Now, are you making a little money compared to Target?
Yeah, compared. I was.
That's why it lasted 12 years.
But it was a rewarding experience. It was a high spiritually. It was a high musically because they were incredible musicians, and it gave me a chance to bust out of. I started portraying a character, like you said. You saw the thing I did, and I started portraying a character, and it kind of caught on. People were showing up at gigs dressed like I was.
Oh, that's great.
And but yeah, it was very rewarding.
Awesome.
I bet. You also produced stuff.
I did. There was and at this time there were none of this Christian rap.
Yeah.
There was none of that.
Yeah, no, that's a relatively new thing.
Yeah. So the first one I produced was a group called ETW.
Okay.
Christian rap.
And
Man, you jumped to a whole new.
yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
And my affiliation with DeGarmo and Key and their management, they asked me if I would produce them. I said, yeah, I'll take a shot. They were exceptional guys, exceptional musicians, and we did a record I'm really proud of. Right after that, they said, would you be interested in doing a production for a band called DC Talk? Sure, man, I'd love to. Well, DC Talk went.
They exploded.
They did. So
I'm not familiar. What were they?
They were Christian rap
Yeah,
band.
Another Christian rap band.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
they
they
were-
basically weren't a band. They were three guys.
Yep.
And I won a Dove Award for my production
Nice.
on that one. And,
Oh, what kind of award?
Dove.
Dove. It's the equivalent to a Grammy
Yeah.
in the Christian music field.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that was a great experience. Got me into doing some producing.
So, do you rap? Because you need, as a producer,
No,
don't you need to kind of
well,
have that
let me
connection? I don't
Well,
see you as a rapper. How does Tommy Cathey become the producer for Christian rap?
Well, because I was a bass player and rap music is so heavy bass and drums, they thought I could do a good job doing that. And I had to do some homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what year? Where are we talking?
Oh, man, we're talking 80.
So rap in general is still very
still brand
new.
I didn't realize DC Talk had been around that long. I
Yeah.
was thinking 2000s. But
No, this was in the 80s.
Okay.
And
So this is cutting edge stuff. Here.
I had to, I didn't know anything about rap music.
Well, there's not a whole lot to research.
No,
Research.
I
back
mean,
then.
at that time, it was like the big rap artists was like LL Cool J.
Yeah.
So I had to go out and get some CDs of rap music and study them and do my homework, and I did, and it was a successful record.
Did you track any of the bass stuff?
I did,
Yourself?
I did a couple of them, yeah. A lot of it because of the nature of rap music, you use a syntho bass, you know.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of that, but I did play some bass on it.
Very cool.
And if I'm not mistaken, DC Talk's still doing it, right?
Well, the originator of the band is still doing it.
Okay.
The other guys are still playing, but with different people.
And what's his name?
Toby?
Yeah.
Forgive me.
My son loves the guy, and I can't think of his name.
Very
either.
talented guy,
Yep,
man.
very
He's
talented.
still out there doing it.
Yep.
Toby Mack.
Toby Mack. That's
Yeah.
him. Yep.
I almost hit the button, Jeff.
Oh, he saved me.
Yes, he did.
So
Well, Big Star Band.
Big Star. This was when Target was still playing clubs. We were playing at High Cotton, and I had gotten to know Alex Chilton just from being in the Memphis music family. And he used to come see our band play, Target play, and he came up to me at a gig and said, we're getting ready to do a third record. And he said, we don't have a bass player. Would you be interested in doing some bass work on it? Sure, man, I'd love to. So we went into Ardent to record his third album, and it's called Sisters Lovers. And I'm on the first 4 tracks of the record. And it's amazing the response that I get from people when I tell them I played with Big Star. It's like
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and for me at the time, I was doing session work, and it was another session for me. It was special,
Sure.
but I didn't realize they had such a big following and inspired so many folks.
Did you run with them at all as far as
Not
touring?
really. I used to see them, just from being in the scene, and Alex would come see us play.
So this overlaps Target? Is that what you said?
This was during the Target, right before we did our first album.
Oh, okay. So early on.
Yeah.
So you mentioned playing sessions. Did you have a pretty solid session career as well?
Man, because of the record I did with David Beaver, Beaver and Combinations, we were at a place called TMI Studios, where we did that album. And Jerry Williams owned the studio, and Steve Cropper had an office there. Of course, Steve Cropper.
Yeah. Booker T and the MGs.
Yeah, and so he was getting all these production records, and because I was over there so much, he knew who I was, and he would come see us recording and stuff. So evidently he liked me enough that he came up to me and said, I would like you to play on this record because Dunn can't make it. And so basically, I was second call to the amazing Duck Dunn, which I was okay with, man.
No doubt, man.
And so I got to play on some amazing stuff.
I can only imagine, man.
We did. There was an album we did for a group called Cold Blood, who was a huge band in the '70s with a lead singer named Lydia Pence. Huge band, really soulful, great band, and then I did a Jerry Lee Lewis album there, and
who's that?
And
I mean, come on, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah, and then one day he called and said, "Duck can't do this album we're doing. We're doing it at Ardent, and it's on an artist named John Prine." I didn't know who John Prine was. So I did some research and found out who he was. And so I did most of that album at Ardent, except for maybe 3 songs. And when the album was released, the credits on the people that were on there were mind-boggling. Jackson Browne, Glenn Frey, Bonnie Raitt, I mean, Stevie Goodman, just on and on. And I was like, man, I'm on an album with these guys.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
You've been touched in so many ways, man. It's so great.
It's a blessed gift.
Yeah. Did you ever meet Duck Dunn?
Oh, yeah.
I always ask if anyone that knows him, because I just thought he was the coolest.
Yeah, he was great, man. He used to. I used to fill in with Randy and the Radiants, and we played at this spot out in East Memphis called Louie's, and we did that every Sunday night there.
Uh-huh.
And Duck would come in to see him because he was friends with Randy Haspel and Bob Simon and Donnie Bear. And he would come in and he would sit in. I'd let him play my bass. He tried so many times to get me to sell him my bass because it was real light and it was a Fender Precision bass and he loved it.
Yeah.
But I never would sell it to him.
Sorry, Don.
But I knew Duck and just icon.
My first real introduction to him was the Blues Brothers soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was along with Steve Cropper.
Sure.
Yeah, just a cool player.
Yeah, man. Original, played on so many hit records.
Yeah, I know. Like Sitting on the Dock of the Bay is the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
So many that you'll never really know.
But he was on a bunch of hit records.
Yep. All right.
It says here you love golf. If we're going to talk about golf, this is probably where we have to put up the parental advisory thing, because if he's anything like me, there's a lot of cussing and throwing things.
And we need to move to Almost Famous after that.
Okay.
So.
Well, I became a avid golfer. Now, there's a difference between avid and good.
I understand.
I was avid.
I'm an avid drummer.
The constant search, right? The constant search.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And at one point, I was playing 3-4 times a week.
Yeah.
And just fell in love with the game.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
I mean, is legendary for every day.
Yep.
He takes his stuff on tour with him?
Oh yeah, he's
And he's great.
huge. Yeah. Vince Gill, scratch golfer, just incredible golfer.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. If you like it, you love it. And
But it must be so frustrating too.
oh man, it's the hardest by far ball ever. I can take a basketball and throw it and hit it in the hoop ever so often.
Sure.
I can hit a ball
Yeah.
every once in a while, but with golf, it's constant frustration.
Oh,
yeah. It took
It's
me
the
about
hardest game.
It took me 15 minutes to figure out there's no way in hell I was going to stick with that.
It is the hardest game
It
of
is.
all.
Growing up-
And it's not just the physical part. There's so much mental
Oh yeah,
with golf.
sure it is.
And mechanics.
Most of it is mental.
Absolutely. You if you can't leave that crappy shot that you just made way
Yeah.
behind in the rearview mirror and move on to the next one, you're destined for failure.
Did you ever snap a club over the knee?
Never did that. never threw one in the lake or anything because I knew what my level of golf was. So I didn't have high expectations.
Sure.
Man.
So I used to play putt-putt when I was young.
Love putt-putt.
And the clown mouth still eludes me.
Yeah.
But they also had a driving range. I'm young,
Right.
so I'm trying to drive these balls. And one time I took the club and I missed the ball. By that I mean hit the ground before it, and it broke and flew out. And I had to tell them because they have these little golf carts sucking up the balls.
Yeah.
I had to be like, hey.
You
I
gotta
show them the club. I'm
Yeah.
like, you might want to go pick that up, or
Yeah.
it's going to break your golf cart.
It's a frustrating game, man.
Yeah.
But if you love it, you love it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get enough of it at one time. Then I had some back trouble that caused me to stop for a while.
How about now?
Now, I haven't played in almost 3 years.
Oh, wow.
But I'm playing tomorrow.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Very
Send
cool.
us some video and we'll put it on the podcast.
Maybe this is the time you break a club.
Maybe. It could be. But having not played in 3 years, I'm sure it'll be laughable.
Yeah.
Hey, muscle memory though.
Yeah.
It will come back.
Sure.
You know.
All right.
Almost famous.
gotta do it.
Let's go.
Okay.
So this is what you're doing now. I want to hear about how this came to be. So
I was in a band at the time, right before I got with Almost Famous, called the Memphis All-Stars.
Yeah.
Do you know Walter White?
Know him well.
Yeah.
Know him well.
I played with him at the Gold Strike for a few shifts.
Walter's great, man.
Great player.
Great player. Funny guy.
Yeah.
But he was he was the drummer, and I'd played with them for 7-8 years.
Okay.
And
Doing a lot of casino stuff,
a
correct?
lot of casino stuff.
Yeah.
And Bill Marshall, who had played with Target starting in 77.
Oh, okay.
And he was playing with Almost Famous, and he calls me up one day and says, we're going to get rid of our bass player, and we're just looking for another. You got any ideas? And I said, well, I don't really know anybody, but I'd like to talk to you about it, you know? And
Bill, if you'd like to come on the program and tell your version of this story.
How was Tommy not first choice?
you need to come and tell them about it.
So was it Scott Sudbury and Buddy
Nimmons. Yeah.
Already,
Yeah.
Bill Marshall. So you did not start day one with them.
No, I
Gotcha.
didn't. First thing I did was go hear them.
Yeah.
And I saw what kind of musicians, and Scott and Buddy and Bill were just.
Where were they playing at
top
that
shit.
time?
They were playing at that time. It wasn't called Hadley's. I can't remember what it was called, but it was Hadley's, the building there.
yeah.
I can't remember what it was called.
I can't remember either, but yeah.
But that's where I went and saw them, and I saw. I mean, they're top shelf musicians.
Yes.
And so they came over to talk to me at the table during their break, and I said, "Well, let's meet and talk about this."
Yeah.
So we had a meeting at Huey's lunch one day, and they pulled out their calendar and showed me what they had and their gigs and stuff. And I said, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that day I went and bought a new bass, and I've been with them ever since. That's been over 15 years.
Okay, I was just going to ask what kind of year,
Nice.
what year this was. So
One
quick math.
One thing you guys are known for is vocals.
Right.
You are freaking fantastic.
Thank you, man.
All
vocally.
four.
Thank you.
And not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but were they that good vocally when you first went to see them?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
They were. I just added another element to it.
Yeah. Well, hats off to you guys and Almost Famous,
thank you,
because
man.
you're doing things that most bands require tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's another band that does Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
For real, without tracks.
Yeah.
People
yeah. And
straight up.
without keyboards.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that a lot from people. Man, I can't believe you guys are doing Bohemian, you know. And,
I mean, how did you all work out that whole breakdown?
man, we were playing at the Gold Strike, and the discussion was we need to work up an epic song to go in our set.
Yeah.
That would be a good one.
And that would be a good one.
Fits the bill.
And so everybody did their homework musically and kind of learned it on their own.
Yeah.
And then on our breaks at the Ghost Strike, we would go backstage and work on harmonies. And
There's
it
a
took
few.
It took a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy task.
Well, are you familiar with Rick Beato?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he interviewed Brian May, and then they talked about that song, and
Yeah.
it was bounce, bounce, bounce. I mean, just layer after layer after
Yes.
layer of different parts and harmonies, and switching it up, and that what you hear is an insane amount of vocal tracks.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
So
crazy.
and now it's just four of you having to try to fill that.
We don't do any doubling or use
Yeah.
any tracks or anything on it.
Right.
And so the first few times were a little bit shaky, you know, but once you play something, you learn it, and then it develops to what it is.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most talked about song that we do of all the songs that we do, and we do 100,000 songs.
I mean,
you
I
know?
think it's safe to say you're the only band doing that.
Well, that
Right.
could be. That could be.
I would say, you
Yep.
know, Gen X is working on it, right, Jeff?
What's that?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
No, we will not be doing Bohemian Rhapsody. I've said before, I'm not a singing drummer. I lose my mind if I try to sing while I'm back there. So,
Yeah.
Can't do it.
And Bill Marshall's back there, just
Bill
doing
is
his thing.
killing
Yeah.
it.
So let's give some love to your bandmates.
Yes.
How about that?
I would love to. I'll start out with Bill. I started playing with Bill in '77 with Target for about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So he and I have a great relationship and a great rapport as a bass player drummer.
Rhythm section.
We read each
Welcome
other.
to the Rhythm Section podcast.
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
You're speaking to world renowned.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, tens of people know who we are.
So Bill and I had a good rapport and worked together really well. We could read each other, and with bass players and drummers, you get to a point where things just happen without you even talking about it.
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
we'd reached that level, and he left to go play with Hank Jr. I went to play with DeGarmo and Key.
Right.
And so I have known Bill for a long time. I didn't know Scott or Buddy.
Okay.
And when I first went and heard them, I said, man, these guys are really good. Good players, good singers. And so when I decided I was going to play in a band with them, I really found out how good they were.
Yeah.
And there were times that the first, couple of months, or I would be on stage listening to them, and I found myself, I can't listen to them because I forget what I'm doing because they sound so good.
And I'm sure you had 300 songs to learn.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, I mean, just top shelf players, their musicianship is way up there, man. And people, I have heard criticism about us being a copy band. And
so they throw shade on you?
Yeah, because we copy other people's songs.
Dude, that is where the money is these days.
Come on.
Hello.
That is it.
I mean,
And so there are a lot of bands that do original material
And starve
around
to
town, but they cannot make a living at
Yeah.
it. You
Well, it's
cannot
tough.
make a living at it. And I'll promise you, 90+% of the bands out there today doing original music
of course.
have other gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can't make a living doing it. That is our livelihood. So we try to be the best we can be at being a cover
Who's
band.
throwing shade in your way?
Well, I don't want to mention any
Come on,
names
let's go. Let's
because
go.
I'm afraid you might know them.
No, we're not going to do that. But there's cover band in this town at this point in time is where the money is.
Yeah, it is.
It's that simple.
It is, and so we take it real serious. Sure. We do, and
obviously it's working for you because you don't do very many public gigs anymore.
No.
It's all private stuff, which is really where the money is, and that's awesome.
Yeah. When you're in a band, there's 4 people in the band, and you hold such high esteem to these cats. You don't worry. There's no concern over people doing their parts or not doing their parts. It's always going to be there.
And after all these years, just gelled and seasoned with each other.
And we still having a blast doing it.
Awesome.
Well, congratulations for being the first member of Almost Famous on the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
Okay.
Well,
and
Scott.
Yeah, Bill, buddy. We're trying to track down Scott. He says, "Yeah, we'll do it."
Yeah.
Doesn't happen.
Open invitation to everybody, and we can't. He talked about Bill. Let's talk about Scott. Let's show some love to Scott. Tell us all about it.
Well, Scott, Scott did a couple of CDs of his original music. And he went out and did some touring to support that. So. To the naysayers that all we do is cover material, we still are doing original material, but it's not as a band, so to speak. Yeah. I have a CD out that I did in 2017, and I'm just finishing a new one that we start mixing next week. We didn't stop doing original music, but we got to make a living.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We are musicians.
And
That's
then
what we do.
You have to exercise that muscle.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
For sure. Because that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we've also got Buddy Nimmons.
Buddy, great
I'm glad
guy.
you said the name.
Yeah.
Instead of me trying that.
Great player. I met Buddy kind of at a distance. He worked at a place called Crosstown Studios that a really good drummer, a friend of mine owned, Greg Morrow. And
I don't know who that guy is.
Yeah, he's big time, man.
Yeah, he is.
And so Buddy worked at that studio for a while, and I met him just at a distance and knew he was a musician, but didn't really know anything about him, and still didn't until I went and saw him playing with Almost Famous. I'm going, man, this guy can play,
Then sing his ass
and
off.
sing his tail off, man.
Yeah.
And now that we've had you in here, Buddy is the only member of the band that I've never met. So I need to, when I come to a show, you guys play publicly again, I will make a point to go up to Buddy and shake his hand.
Please do.
Yeah.
And say hi.
He's a wonderful guy, man. I mean, all the guys in the band are great. It just has. I have nothing but positive to say about this band since I've been in it, because they do take it serious and they're such good musicians. We have achieved a level of where people that call us know they're going to get a good job and a responsible job.
Yeah.
We don't get drunk on the gigs. We don't drink on the gigs.
Good for you.
And that seems to be a kind of a common problem.
It
with
can
a few
be.
bands,
It can be, yes.
Well, it's your job after all.
Yes, it is.
And you wouldn't go to your 9-to-5 job and get drunk.
No.
So, yeah.
So we
makes
take
sense.
it seriously, and it's paid off.
You guys pretty much every weekend?
Yeah.
A lot of private stuff.
We're doing a couple of festivals this week during midweek, which I love those midweek gigs.
Yeah, sure. You still pack the weekend up?
Yeah.
Boom.
And
you pepper in some public, right? At Lafayette?
Lafayette is about the only public place we do other than the summer festivals.
Right.
And we're at Lafayette about once every 4 to 5 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. So check it out, y'all.
Yeah.
Go to the website and scour the calendar.
Come see us.
I behoove you to go see Almost Famous.
Yeah, if you've been under a rock and you don't know who these guys are, you will be impressed.
Yeah,
so
for
check
sure.
them out.
Thank you, man.
Are we missing anything, Tommy?
I think we pretty much covered it,
Man,
Pretty
that was
much
great.
done.
Man.
I've enjoyed it. I appreciate the chance to be on your program, man.
Oh,
I've enjoyed seeing it with a few friends of mine, Dave Smith and Rocco.
Rocco Walls, everybody.
Rocco and I have become friends.
We love Rocco.
Rocco's great, man.
And the whole Fever Tree camp, but Rocco.
Yeah, Rocco's something else, man.
Yeah.
And he and I have become friends. he came to see us play a benefit one time at Neil's, and ever since then, he and I have stayed in touch and talked and been friends.
And Davey Smith, what a character.
Just a great guy, man.
Yeah.
Great player. Just
Amazing player.
Yeah.
Nice guy, too.
Yeah.
The Deb Jam Band every Tuesday, Neil's free show.
Yeah.
He's quick to let you sit in. He'll give you his bass. Come on up.
Man.
Very encouraging.
Sure.
Let's jam and have some fun. He has fun.
Yeah.
The whole band does. It's
do.
great. Well, Tommy, man, such a pleasure to have you in here and to meet you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. I appreciate the offer to come, and let's do it again, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
let's go.
We'll do it.
Come back next week. No.
Bring one of the other guys with you.
Yeah, that's
I'll
right.
deposit them off.
But I'm honored that we had the best member of that band in. How about that?
Hey,
there you
so
go.
Thank
there
you,
you go.
man.
But
Thank you.
well, before we say our final goodbye, Jeff, we got some things to talk about, and I forgot to print the script.
We're gonna wing it.
We're gonna wing this one
Because I don't know if you noticed, I was looking for it
I saw
a second
you.
ago, and I was like,
I saw
wait
you, and
a
I was
minute.
like, oh man.
Oh,
so.
well.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching and listening.
Always.
Tommy Cathey's story here. We appreciate it. Go to therhythmsectionpod.com. You can find all of our archive episodes in there. Facebook, Instagram, at the Rhythm Section Pod. Don't forget our new Sunday replay series. Every Sunday, we take old interviews and feed them to you.
Because we've been around long enough now that we actually have old interviews.
Yeah, we're in our mid-60s by the time this interview's out. And we cut off me and Jeff's dog and pony show at the beginning.
Yeah.
No intro. Just right into the interview. Timeline differences. You're gonna hear great stories, but also things have changed for some of these artists. Bands have changed, the whole thing. It's really fun, and it gives you an extra thing in your feed every week. And then when we take our season break this winter, you still get that one thing every Sunday.
And thank you to all of our band sponsors. Without you, this doesn't happen. It's the only way it works. And get out there and see a band.
Dude, that was solid, man. I mean...
Every now and then.
Yeah, every now and then.
A blind
we know what we're
squirrel
doing,
finds a
Tommy. Very good. All right, y'all. So again, Tommy Cathey, everybody.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Tommy.
Such a pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
And y'all have a great week. Thank you.